Hey everybody, this is chapter 25 of Traditions and Encounters. This is part 3 of a 4-part lecture series looking at the Americas in the early colonial period, and yep, I'm still sick. So I hope I don't cough all over this lecture as well. We'll see. Let's roll together. All right, political changes. In the late 15th and early 16th century, the Aztecs and the Inca collapsed. We know this, we've studied it. I don't want to kind of beat this in, so let's keep moving on. Okay, we know the reasons why: diseases, superior weaponry, alliances with rival tribes that were like, hey Aztecs, I'm tired of listening to you tell me what to do. And again, that comes down to guns, germs, and steel, but mostly germs. In 1494, the Pope tried to settle a feud between Spain and Portugal and divided the new territories between them. I don't know if Portugal knew what was going down, but I don't think they came out the winner. So this is the Treaty of Tordesillas, and this is the line. I mean, if you're two kings fighting over something, who is the authority that can mediate that? Only really the Pope. This arrangement puts Brazil under Portugal's rule, and Spain claims the rest of the Americas. In addition to establishing colonies in Mesoamerica and South America, Spain got to explore other parts of North America, north of present-day Mexico, like, home. There was a fort established in St. Augustine, Florida, or which would become Florida, and that was established in 1565. That's the actual oldest continuous settlement in the United States. Spain wouldn't be able to control all of North America, however, because on the East Coast you had settlements by the French, the British, and the Dutch. Coughing. All right, good. So the native political structures in Latin America were completely dismantled and replaced by Spanish and Portuguese colonial structures. Spanish royalty appointed something called a viceroy to act as an administrator and a representative of the Spanish crown. To keep the viceroys from operating like tiny little kings in their own little mini countries, Spain also established something called audiencias, or royal courts, to which Spanish settlers, of course just Spanish citizens, not the indigenous people, could appeal viceroys' decisions or policies, etc. However, getting things back and forth from Spain to, say, Mexico was very, very time-consuming. So it made it very difficult for Spain to really control the Americas directly. As a result, the Spanish throne didn't really focus much on the affairs of the New World, as long as the money kept rolling in. By 1750, though, those that had been born in America from of Spanish origin, which were called Creoles, enjoyed political dominance in Spain and soon began to wonder, wait a minute, why are we even answering to the Spanish crown at all? All right. The indigenous peoples of the Americas lost a huge chunk of their culture and history thanks to the conquistadors. Cortez in Mexico ordered the burning of all native books, which he thought were unholy. Thus, we have very few original accounts written in the language of the Aztecs today. Most of our first-hand accounts from native peoples have sort of been translated or written by the Spanish, so how much can you trust that? But let's see, the Spanish point of view clearly shows in these things, example, when they're talking about human sacrifice, it's almost always like, much more biased than a native Aztec would have spoken about it. However, we do have some sources we consider reliable. For example, in 1545, we have a Spanish priest who began compiling the Florentine Codex. And it's probably one of the ones that historians consider the best choice to figure out what life was like for the Aztecs before and after conquest. The Spanish and the Portuguese transplant their own language and religion into the Americas. The remnants of this cultural interaction are present today, although indigenous languages thrive in certain regions in Guatemala and in the mountains of Mexico, for example. You still see some native language speakers, but Spanish pretty much predominates through much of Latin America, and the Brazilians overwhelmingly speak Portuguese. Let's talk about religion. Catholic missionaries were immensely successful in converting most of the natives to Christianity, specifically Catholicism. Several European orders were sent to Latin America for that purpose: the Dominicans, the Jesuits, the Franciscans. There's a few Protestant denominations that are gaining popularity, but really, most everybody is Catholic. We also see examples of religious syncretism, which is where you see the blending of the old religion and the new religion. Catholic saints' days that suspiciously coincide with old days that were honored by indigenous people. In Mexico, you get a cult that develops around a Virgin of Guadalupe, who was revered for her ability to perform miracles, but when you look at her, she's generally portrayed as almost native-looking. Certain syncretic religions developed that combined indigenous and Christian practices. Vodun, which was a descendant of West African traditions, animist-style traditions, is practiced mainly in Haiti and includes some elements of Catholicism. Sometimes this religion is called voodoo. Santeria in Cuba shares many similarities with Vodun, combining Christianity and the traditions of the Aja people in Africa. Oh, look, triangle. Yay. Social changes. Along with the arrival of the Europeans became the importation of African slave labor. So suddenly you have all these different people and all these different colors, and so you have a brand new social hierarchy. So this hierarchy is based on race and ancestry. At the top of the social pyramid are the peninsulares, those who were actually born in Spain or Portugal on the Iberian Peninsula. Coughing. Next were the Creoles, okay, those that were of European ancestry but were born in the New World. Below them are the people of mixed raced ancestries, the mestizo. And you've got the mulattoes, those of mixed European and African, and then Zambos, which would be those of mixed indigenous Native American and African, on and on and on and on. Skin color becomes a sad signifier of power and status in many parts of the Americas, and racial and ethnic background would define your social status in Spanish and Portuguese empires in the Western Hemisphere for centuries following European arrival. All right, that was brief. Cool. Making connections. After you finish with these notes, I want you to create a 2-column table comparing the Spanish and Portuguese maritime empires in one column, being that they're based on the fact that they have ships that can get there and control it. Okay, so the Spanish and Portuguese in one column versus any other land-based empire we have studied. Any other one, Alexander, the Romans, the Mongols, okay, whatever. Any other land-based empire. All right? See you later.